So I do have to just read a disclaimer. Musaffa LLC is a U.S. SEC registered investment advisor. SEC registration does not imply SEC endorsement. So this webinar is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing discussed today should be considered investment advice, a recommendation to buy or sell any security, or other type of professional advice. The views and opinions expressed during this webinar are our own and may not be representative of the views or experiences of others. All investments involve risk, including possible loss of principal. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Any references to third-party companies, brands, or logos are for informational purposes only and do not constitute an endorsement or partnership. So alhamdulillah, we're so excited to have Sister Fatimah Jangana with us today. She's a certified financial coach and the founder of Finance Girlie, where she helps Muslim women manage their money to attain financial peace. She specializes in creating simple budgeting systems that work, paying off debt, and halal investing. She has worked with over 240 plus women across the world on financial literacy, helping them reach their goals. And her vision is to contribute to a world where Muslims have strong and independent financial systems, inshallah. Thank you so much for all the work that you've done in this space. Alhamdulillah. We're so grateful for your knowledge and for just everything that you've learned and that you're able to share with us. So this session is really exciting. Ramadan's coming, alhamdulillah, and it's something that I haven't actually seen yet, and which was what inspired this kind of topic, because I've always heard from friends who talk about Ramadan being like and Eid being almost like their preparation for Christmas, like the amount of money that gets spent on Eid gifts, the amount of money that gets spent on, you'd think less money because people are not eating as much, but you have more family, you have more hungry family members. You're also giving a lot more in charity. And you're spending more time in the masjid. You're spending more time in maybe community spaces that may also encourage spending and giving. And so I want to give it to you and see what you can share about this topic. And then we got a lot of questions from people from the sign up form, and I have some questions of my own.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Nusrat. And as I mentioned, I'm very honored and excited to be here and to speak to you all today. And yes, as Nusrat mentioned, my name is Fatimah Jangana. I'm a financial coach. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Ramadan and budgeting for Ramadan. Nusrat, I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that Ramadan, you would think that spending in Ramadan and budgeting in Ramadan is going to be easier, but it's actually the opposite. Whether it's the iftars that people are planning for or the Eid outfits. Eid is just a huge one, right? There's the outfits, there's the celebration, decorations, there's the gifts, and so many things. There's traveling for some. So I want to talk to you guys today about budgeting in Ramadan, because Ramadan is a time where we all want to spend time worshiping Allah. Like that, at the end of the day, a lot of us are looking to worship a lot more. And right now we're about, I think, 20 days away. I saw it earlier this morning from Ramadan. And a lot of people are talking about how they're going to read more Quran and they're going to, do more dhikr, and they're going to pray Qiyam al-Layl, and they're going to give more in charity. We're planning for the ibadat, which I love it. It's amazing. However, there's a part of our lives that often gets neglected, because we think Ramadan is for the akhirah, we should focus on the akhirah. So we don't plan financially, and then we face the consequences. Because if we spend emotionally, or we don't work, we're not consistent with our working on our goals, or we neglect our obligations, there are going to be consequences. Your bills don't stop because it's in Ramadan. Your rent doesn't skip the month of Ramadan. So these are things that we need to focus on. We need to create a plan so that when Ramadan comes, we can have the peace, the calm, the clarity, and the system in place so that we can do what we want to do. We can read extra Quran, and you're not, praying and thinking about, my phone bill is due in a couple of days, or you have that subtle anxiety that just carries you everywhere. And you don't have the khushu' that you otherwise would have, because your money does not have a system. So that's why this method. This is important because we want to make the most of Ramadan. Ramadan is the best month of the year. It's the only month wherein the gates of Jannah are open, the gates of the hellfire are closed, and the shayateen are locked up. It's the only month that has a night that you worshiping Allah on that night is better than you worshiping Allah for 83 years plus. It's a golden opportunity. And the last thing we want to be worried about is the financial details. But we neglect those when we're planning for Ramadan. We don't plan for our money. We neglect that. But the reality of today is finances affect most other aspects of life. So I want to ask some of you if you could just either put a 1 in the chat or raise your hand. Thinking about last Ramadan, which of these did not go according to plan? If you can relate to any of these, just let me know. That you felt guilty because you didn't give enough. You felt like you did not give enough, so you felt a little bit guilty. Does that apply to anyone? Good. You have some ones in the chat. Or you spent too much on iftars. And when I say iftars, I'm talking about more of the social ones, like the ones that are with the decorations, the Pinterest iftar. Like I think that would sum up the ones that I'm talking about. You spent a lot of money on giving that Pinterest iftar. Good. Or maybe you had to send money back home, whatever that is. And it was more than you thought, because a lot of people were sending their problems. They're telling you about their problems for you to solve it. Okay. Or your Eid outfits or Eid gifts. You spent a little bit more than you thought. Good. You have some ones in the chat. Eid gifts, outfits, travel, all of those expenses come up. And the last one is wanting to take time off to worship Allah more. So whether that is throughout the month, you want to get off a little bit earlier or start a little bit later, or even take the last 10 nights off, but you could not because you have bills to pay. Okay, Selma has, I'm not sure what number that is, but I'll call it, let's say infinite, right? Amazing. So this is why budgeting for Ramadan matters. We're not doing this so that we can spend all of Ramadan penny pinching and, being the person at the cashier that holds up the line just so you can make sure you get the exact amount of change. This is so that you can have this freedom, the space, the peace of mind, and the structure to focus on the things that matter the most in this month. So I'll give a background here of how I got here real quick. So a couple of years ago, I graduated from college, and then I started my first big girl job, and I was super excited. And I started asking myself, well, this is great, but how do I manage this money that I'm earning? We didn't learn this in school, and we didn't have the financial literacy that Musaffa is doing now. I didn't have that. So I love that we have this financial literacy now because it was not there back in the day. So I'm not that old, by the way. I'm just saying back in the day, but it's not been that long. So I went on this journey to learn about personal finance and how we manage it. Along that journey, I learned two main things. Two things stood out to me. The first is that mainstream financial literacy does not cater to Muslims. It does not take our values in mind. It doesn't lead with our values. We hear about things like riba and life insurance and so many different things that go against our values. So we as Muslims, we need to filter out the mainstream information if we're collecting it that way. Or we can attend webinars like this that Musaffa is organizing to give us that head start so we know what to do with our money. And the second one was the relationship between psychology and money. Now, my background is in psychology, and this was like a golden discovery for me. I was so excited because I learned that your upbringing, your beliefs, the messages that you've heard about money have an impact on how you manage money today. So some people say, well, I'm not good with money. I'm bad with money. I'm terrible with money. That could never be me. Or they're scared of investing, all of that. Many times it's related to psychology. So I decided to pursue a career in personal finance. And alhamdulillah, that was 2 years ago, wherein I dedicated my life to a mission, which is to contribute to a world where Muslims are independent of systems that go against us, where Muslim women, because that's my audience, don't have to worry about money. And we have the peace, the freedom, the options that we desire, leading with our values. Alhamdulillah. So helped lots of women all over the world, partnered with companies like Musaffa now and the Intentional Currency, Wahid, and the likes go on. So that's my why. This is my why. Going back to the topic at hand, we have already talked about why this matters. We are talking about budgeting for Ramadan because we want to make the most out of this golden opportunity. This might be our last Ramadan if we reach it, and I hope we do. So we want to make sure that we're as prepared as possible to make the most out of this lesson. The second thing we're going to talk about next is having a spending plan for Ramadan. I've put them into different buckets and we'll go over them in just a moment. And the last will be the Q&A section. Now, before I give you the spending buckets, I want you all to just share with me briefly What would you want your Ramadan to look like? What's your vision for Ramadan this year? Get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, quiet time, sincerity. Okay. I love this. To be a better Muslim, focus on ibadah more. Good. To slow down. Ooh, I love that. Slow down. Great responses. Anyone else? What's your vision for Ramadan? More ibadah hours in the kitchen. Okay, good. Let's get one more response, then we'll move on. What's your vision for Ramadan? A fulfilled Ramadan where I won't have regrets after. Yes. Organize, focus on the Quran, less time in the kitchen. Yes. So more ibadah hours then. Okay, in the kitchen, I see. Impact, calmness, sharing, energy, stick to my diet no matter how my mom tries to trick me. That's a global challenge. Same thing here. Memorizing more surahs. I love that. I love that. And thank you all for sharing these responses. Now, whatever it is that you wrote as your vision for Ramadan, I want you to have this at the forefront of your mind throughout this presentation. Because what you dream for your Ramadan to look like, let's not keep that as just a dream. Let's move it into your reality, inshallah. So this plan that we're talking about today is so that your dream becomes your vision and your reality. Now I'm going to give you 5 buckets that you can organize your money in these 5 buckets to make the most out of budgeting this Ramadan as best as possible. So I would highly encourage that you take out a piece of paper and even just take notes as you're writing this so that you can refer back to this after the presentation. The first of those is your obligation. Now, as I mentioned earlier, your obligations don't disappear. Most of your obligations don't disappear just because it's Ramadan. And the wise person is the one who prioritizes the right things. The first of those, whether it's your rent, maybe it's your groceries, maybe it's your gas, it's your bills, it's people that you're responsible for, your parents, your children, your spouse. This needs to be at the top of your budget. So what that looks like is you take out a piece of paper or you use an app or you use a spreadsheet, whatever that might be, and you write obligations, number 1, and you write down the different categories that you spend on, that you need to spend on. So you write down food, rent, gas, whatever it is. Take care of that first. That's the most important thing. The second thing would be generosity. Now, there's a hadith from Ibn Abbas where he said the Prophet ﷺ was the most generous, and he was the most generous in Ramadan. He was even more generous in Ramadan. And a lot of us like to give more in charity, to feed people more, to contribute to the masjid, to take care of our family, and the list goes on of the good things that we need to do. Write this down. Right after your obligations, write down generosity. Write it down for the first 20 days, write it down for the last 10 days. Write it down. And I'd highly encourage you, this is just a personal note here, to challenge yourself with this. Challenge yourself with amounts that are uncomfortable. Don't use your rent money and give it in charity. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is challenge yourself. If you are comfortable giving 100, challenge yourself to give 150 or 200 because it's Ramadan. So this is the second priority. After your obligation, the things that Allah has said you need to take care of these, then we go to generosity. The third category is your goals. You don't have to stop working on your financial goals just because it's Ramadan. Do you want to be obsessing over them and thinking about them day in, day out? No. But you want to have a plan in place so you can take care of your goals. If you have some debt, have a plan in place so you can pay off your debt. If you'd like to start investing, don't neglect that in Ramadan. Put the systems in place so that you can take care of investing. And if you're saving for a trip, for Umrah, for emergencies, still work on that in Ramadan. That's your third priority. The fourth one, and a lot of people miss this one. The fourth one is the lifestyle. The Pinterest iftars also, personally, I'll put them under here, but other iftars I was talking about, like going to the masjid and giving iftar there. But the extra stuff, the things that allow you to worship Allah even easier. So for example, if we're talking about convenience meal, you want to spend less time in the kitchen, so you want to eat out more or have food delivered over to you more. That would increase your food line item in Ramadan. So take that into account. Or take into account, let's say you don't want to spend the time grocery shopping, right? You want to use that hour to do something else. Great. I love that for you. Plan for that though. Plan for it because it's higher in Ramadan than other months. Take that into account. So that's the fourth thing. This one is not as important as your obligation. It's not as important as generosity. This one is convenience. These are things that allow you to do more acts of worship in Ramadan. And the last one is Eid. Now, Eid, you have to plan for Eid. For most of us, like some people, they don't care. But those of us who get new outfits, we get some gifts, we travel sometimes, we might host Eid, we might take some decorations somewhere, plan for Eid. There's a sad reality in the Gambia where I'm from. Sometimes in the last 10 nights in Ramadan, when you go to the masjid, the women's section is very empty. Why? Because a lot of them, that's the time that they'll start going shopping for Eid and buying their outfits and getting their hair done and all of that. And that's the time where you might miss Laylatul Qadr. But if you plan for it beforehand, you have that room to worship Allah more, to focus on your ibadah, to make the most out of this blessed month of Ramadan that we have. So Eid is a big one. If I were you, I would start planning for Eid now. Like usually that's what I do. Maybe I'm a bit extra, but now is when I get my outfits ready. So before Ramadan even starts. So when Ramadan's here, everything's already done. But plan for that. Don't wait until the 15th to start figuring out, well, do I want to travel to my cousins to start Eid there? Figure that out now so that you can put the money aside when the time comes. These are the 5 spending categories that I see a lot of Muslims relating to when it comes to Ramadan. They're spending in Ramadan. If you organize your spending into these 5 categories, you'll have a system that is adaptable to your life. It leads with your values. It leads with things that are most important. It prioritizes the right things, and it allows room for flexibility. There's one thing I would like to mention, though, that I don't have on here, which is miscellaneous. And I think there was a question that was submitted about this. A good budget always has a miscellaneous line item because there's always going to be something that happens that you do not plan for. So you want to have a miscellaneous line item. That could be $100. It could be $50, whatever it is that's realistic for your life. It could be even more than that. But have a miscellaneous line item. And this is for things that happen that you do not plan for. Let's say you get a parking ticket or something is more expensive than you thought it would be. So you adjust for that. But have this system in place before Ramadan starts so that when the month comes, you have already set your financial plan. You're working hard on making the most of the month. And you're also taking care of your responsibility. I want to challenge you all to do something within the next 24 hours. Look, learning is fun and it's nice to say, oh yeah, I attended this Ramadan budgeting workshop. But what does that do if you haven't implemented what you've learned? So in the next 24 hours, I want you to write at least half of some expenses in these 4 buckets, in these 5 buckets. Just write half, 50% of it done. And why should you bother about this 20 days before Ramadan? Because Ramadan is not the time for you to be figuring it out. Ideally, you're figuring it out now. And you're making the mistakes now and you're tweaking things now so that when Ramadan comes, you already have money settled. It's not like you're going to forget about it completely, but a lot of the time that you would otherwise be spending worrying about money, figuring this out, adjusting this, oh, I did this wrong, I miscalculated this, you have already taken care of that. You have already taken care of that. So the last thing that I want to talk about before we get into the questions is dua. Dua is the weapon of the believer. This Ramadan, we should all make dua for the akhirah, number one, and for the dunya. If you're someone who feels like I am bad with money, as they say, make dua that Allah makes you good with money. If you're someone whose spending is reckless, you say it's reckless, I'm not saying that. People tell me sometimes that spending is reckless, then make dua for Allah to guide you to have the level of emotional maturity and emotional discipline to lead your finances responsibly, to manage them responsibly. If you're someone who wants to achieve a certain financial goal, or let's say you want to give something in Ramadan, but you don't see how right now. You wish you could give, let's say, $1,000 to the masjid, but you don't see how that's possible. Make dua even now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who can split the moon for his servant. He can split the sea for his servant. He can make a baby talk and he could shake the mountain if he wanted to. So your ask, whatever it is not too big for him. If you're in debt, your debt is not too big for Allah. Make dua now. Continue to make dua in Ramadan and watch your life change. Ramadan is such a special time, subhanAllah. As Ramadan's getting closer, people have been passing away. I've heard of someone just passed away yesterday. And subhanAllah, you sit down and think, what if this is my last Ramadan? And put the budgeting to the side and everything. We want to make the most out of this month. This is the most special month in the year. And if Allah blesses us, it's truly a golden opportunity. If Allah allows us to reach the month, let's make the most of it. The last thing we want to be worried about is focusing on things that we otherwise could have taken care of beforehand. Someone who is intentional, someone who's proactive, someone who has their stuff in order, as they say, is who you're going to be, inshallah. So get your money right so that you can get the month right, inshallah. So that you can give, you can take care of your responsibilities. You can have, like, if you're going to do those iftars, you can have those iftars and you not set yourself back financially. You're still working on your goals. You're still being responsible and you're still taking control of your money. Maybe this budgeting that you do allows you to see that you can give more than you otherwise thought you could have. Right now, you might think I can give 100. Well, when you do the budget, you'll see I can actually give 300. That feels great. Do that. But you will not know if you do not check. So I encourage you all to take some time to create a plan for Ramadan, just like you're creating a plan for how you're going to memorize more Quran and how you're going to be, more generous and all of these things. Take some time to put a plan in place for your finances so that in Ramadan, you can have the peace of mind, the calm someone mentioned earlier, the tranquility, the freedom, and the option to make the most out of the month. So with that, thank you all for paying attention. I will allow Nusrat to go through the questions. And if anyone has any questions here, please feel free to ask. If you want to stay connected, I'm most active on LinkedIn, so you're welcome to reach out there and we'll be in touch. But may Allah allow us all to benefit from the month, to arrive at the month, to benefit from it, and to witness many more to come, inshallah.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair so much, Sister Fatima. I loved everything, but especially the ending. Alhamdulillah, the power of dua. I feel the same way in that nothing can really compare to what dua can do for you. And there will be people who will tell you how dua changed their life, and it should serve as proof that it can happen to you too. Let alone the stories of our past and the Sahaba and the companions who Allah did miracle. It's not a miracle for Allah to do, but it's just miraculous that it happened to them, and it can happen to us too. So we have a few questions, and then I have some other. Then I wanted to open it up to everyone else. Please add your questions on the chat too, if you have any questions for Sister Fatima. But there's one question of someone has debt, and then they're also thinking about savings. So, any encouragement or thoughts around, do I pay off my debt first, or do I save my money?
So that's a beautiful question. And I think there are a few things to consider. Number one is, does your debt have interest? Is the debt accruing interest? If it is, that should be top of mind. That should definitely be prioritized. I usually tell my clients to have a minimal emergency fund when you have debt. Like, just have not zero, because you don't want your savings to be at zero. Like, you want to have something there in case your tire goes out or something small happens, because that creates a buffer for you not to go further in debt. Just a little bit. So that it looks different for everyone. Let's say for someone who's single, doesn't have, a lot of responsibilities, all of that, maybe $1,000 would be enough for them. Someone else who has children and they have this and that, and they're the one responsible for their entire household, that might be a little bit more. So if you don't, let's say you don't have any, if the debt does not have any interest and you don't have savings, you're thinking, should I save? Should I pay off debt? I would say have a minimal emergency fund, a little bit, and then put the debt at the forefront of your mind, tackle that off, and then boost up your emergency fund.
Inshallah, love that. And I love how you connected it to, especially debt that has interest on it. Also, sorry for asking, but do you mind if you can stop sharing your screen?
Yeah, sure.
Just so I can make sure that everyone can see you.
No problem at all.
Yeah, of course. Some people are just visual learners, but okay. So we have this one question of a family who's saying they already have income shortage. And so they've noticed that in their community, a lot of people take on debt to even purchase groceries for Ramadan. So any advice on just, if you're already going into it with minimal expenses and now you have to manage your Ramadan expenses, any advice or just mindset shift or how they should start thinking about that?
I would say your problem is not a spending problem, it's an income problem, because there's two ways to look at a budget. You either need to reduce your spending and or increase your income. So I would suggest that you prioritize earning more so that you can supplement that. Because if your income is not enough to cover the basics, not your, the first category that we had, the obligation. If your income is not enough to cover that, then that needs to be the top of priorities, how to boost the income. So explore other ways to do that. And definitely, all the other expenses, the lifestyle conveniences that I was talking about, I would push down to very back of my mind. That's not anywhere on near the budget at the moment. And may Allah make it easy for you.
I mean. Actually, it reminded me of something I think Brother Muhammad put in the chat of how I think what Ramadan does also is it illuminates how much we want freedom. And so it makes us think of alternate income sources or think of passive income or entrepreneurship that you have your time for yourself. And so it does inspire you to think of making more money, but in a way that's freeing. And so it's pretty remarkable how all the reset that Ramadan does for you.
100%. 100%.
Okay, so another question was, from your experience working with hundreds of women, but also in general, just people in general, what do you think people get wrong the most when it comes to budgeting?
Oh, I love that. I would say it's a mindset thing. Like, I think, in my experience, a lot of people neglect budgeting because they believe it's very restricted. Their image of budgeting is the very stingy, like the people on cheapskate, like people that are highlighted as being a cheapskate. And it's very limiting and it's not freeing at all. And you're never having any fun with life. And it takes over, it's like your entire personality. Like this, I'm the budgeting queen. You're walking around with a crown, and you don't have any fun. You don't have any of that. And it really doesn't, because the reality is when you create a budget, you have the freedom and the peace of mind and the options to spend on the things that you prioritize. And what I love about budgeting is that it reflects your values. You're able to make your money reflect your values. And you're the one making the decision. A lot of us, we work so hard to earn the money that we do, but our money is misbehaving. It's going wherever. It's going to this that we don't even want to pay for. So many subscriptions that we're paying for that we don't even know. You're not in control. So when you have a budget, you have peace, you have control, and you're living in line with your values, and your spending is reflecting that. You can work on your goals. You can prioritize the things that are most important to you. You can give without thinking twice. You can have fun without feeling guilty. So I think a lot of people, what I see, the challenge they have with budgeting is the mindset and the belief about what budgeting really is.
Beautiful. And I completely agree. I've also found that, and it's a reminder to myself first, the concept of accountability and how, you don't always know how you're spending and what's going in and what's going out unless you see it right in front of you in like a spreadsheet, for example. And then that makes you feel more accountable to these numbers as opposed to just having it exist and you thinking you're doing okay, but you don't entirely know. Yeah. And something else I wanted to mention was, that idea of, because we had some questions about just budgeting of Ramadan groceries and even just like eating. And I think if anything, what Gaza, Sudan, and so many other countries have shown us is what abundance looks like when you don't have much. And so the idea of like, oh, 1/3 eat, 1/3 water, 1/3 air. There was this like a poem about how that 1/3 air, it's actually space for God in a way. Like you're letting Allah in that space so that your body demands less of you, and so your soul can be more present. And so I think this Ramadan, we can also push ourselves to eat less. And as a result, change our spending habits there too. But I know it's hard, especially in certain communities where food is so special. And a lot of people pride themselves also in making food. And there's also good intention in that, right? Making beautiful feasts and with the intention of like, I'm feeding a fasting person and I'm feeding my family after they've been hungry the whole day. There's a lot of joy that comes from that too. But then how can we like almost decondition ourselves a little bit out of that and be like, oh, there's also a lot of joy in being conservative a bit and being modest with what we're eating and also even sharing on social media, right? The kind of if we're eating food and sharing it. And you may think that it's not related to budgeting, but one thing, like the mindset that I get from budgeting is discipline, right? As the mindset. So how do you even discipline your body? It's all connected, as you were saying. So
Yeah.
I love that you brought up that it's really about the psychology, less about even the action, right? Okay, so we have another question of, okay, this is something that comes up very often, and you did touch upon it. I'm just wondering if you have anything else to share about budgeting versus charity and sadaqah and debt, and just those components, and also I guess that's the some of the emotions that come out related to it with shame and
Mhm.
maybe pressure to donate. And I don't know if you have anything to share in that space.
100%. And you hit the nail on the head with that. I mean, 100% of that's real. And the reality is, I think in a lot of cultures, especially where they are collective, there's this, they might say, this Ramadan, we're all going to give $500 to this place. Like they've already made the decision for you. They've already selected everything. And maybe you don't have that. Maybe you genuinely don't have that. So what I would say as a Muslim, start with making dua to Allah, as I mentioned. Make dua because it's a good cause. It's a good cause. So make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He allows you to do it. And if you go, inshallah, Allah accept your dua. And there's a challenge for you to still fulfill that. You cannot give 500, you can only give 3, or you can give 2, or you cannot give anything at all because an emergency happened. Think about the fact that as Muslims, we are told to be balanced and we're told to be responsible. Allah has made certain things obligatory. So don't let go of your obligations to give something voluntary. So think about it that way. Yes, there's a societal pressure and all that, but zoom out for a second and think, as a Muslim, what do I prioritize? You prioritize the things that are wajib over the things that are, mubah or recommended or mustahab. So if you cannot you cannot meet the expectation that's been set for you, first and foremost, ask what does Allah want from me? Make the decision based on that. And then with the people, I have this mindset that helps me so much with money and relationships, which is choose guilt over resentment. You are going to say no, and the no feels horrible. You feel guilty when you say no. It's not nice. It's not fun. But I would rather say no and feel guilty than say yes. And so choose guilt over resentment every single. That's what I would say to the person in terms of, the expectations to give when realistically, really and truly, you just cannot. It's not possible for you. Do what Allah wants from you. Prioritize the right thing, and then choose guilt over resentment.
Oh, that's so powerful. I think many of us feel like so many of these emotions, and I've heard them even in my friend conversations too. And I love that. It's very powerful of guilt over resentment. When you're thinking of giving charity, oh, there's this idea that you paying off your debt is as if you're giving sadaqah to your future self. So you're actually, it twists it on its head a little bit of how it's charity in a way for yourself and for your future family who doesn't have to be affected by your debt. And then I'd say, I'm still taken aback by that what you said, because it's so true. I've met so many people, and including myself, where how you're saying like give 100 and see how much more you can give, and then maybe it's 150, maybe it's 300, and we push ourselves, and then we may walk away being like, there's two sides, right? There's this feeling of like maybe I gave too much, and there's other feeling like, oh, I could have given more. Like the thresholds that we put on ourselves, they're like almost self-inflicted. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's clearly on the paper where like you literally don't have any money. And other ones it's like I could technically give it, but I should save, for this and this and this. And you feel guilty for saving, right? You feel guilty but there's also these other feelings that you have of tawakkul, of like I should trust Allah that He'll give me, so I should give everything. And then you have, people like Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu who gave so much, but then Muhammad SAW didn't expect that from everyone, and it's clear that he made that clear. These feelings are so complex, and it's like remarkable how much Ramadan brings that up. So thank you for sharing.
Of course.
There was another comment actually on zakat and managing zakat and just the timeline for it and when to do it and how to do it, how to feel about it. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I would say zakat, one, we know it's the third pillar of Islam, and it's due. There are different things to consider. The first is what zakat should be paid on. There are different asset classes that zakat needs to be paid on. And just to make things simple, we'll say cash. So let's say your cash reaches the threshold, the minimum threshold, which is a full, what's it called? Conversion, because usually it's in gold or it's silver, and you convert that into cash, and with the dollar or whatever currency you're using it is. And if your money reaches that minimum threshold, a lunar year after that. So not what's the other year called? The Gregorian year?
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine there's another name for it, like the solar year. I don't know. But the other year, but the lunar year. So the Islamic calendar is based on the lunar year. 1 year after that is when your zakat is due. And even before we go further in zakat, there's a common mistake people make, which is to delay zakat until Ramadan. So your zakat might be due in Rajab, it might be due in Muharram, and you delay that because you're like, oh, Ramadan is the month wherein the deeds are multiplied so much, I want to take advantage of it. But your zakat is due in the month of that 12 lunar year mark. So that's just one thing to pay attention to. And once you have that date, then calculate your zakat. And in general, it's 2.5% of the value of what you have. So if it's $10,000, it's 2.5% of that. You pay that in zakat to the people who Allah, I think there's 8 categories of people who Allah said, these people give them the zakat. And I believe Musaffa even has a zakat calculator.
Yeah, I was just about to share it. Yeah.
Very easy for you. And make sure that is taken care of. And Allah knows best.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think one thing that I'm going to try to do this Ramadan is calculate it before Ramadan. I usually do it, sometimes we do it before the last 10 nights because that's when everything is heightened. And so I'm trying to see like where all the pieces are and what I have and do all the math, and it takes time and energy. So one thing I want to do is figure it out before Ramadan starts. We had a comment from Brother Muhammad. Firstly, Brother Muhammad, thank you so much for sharing your story, and may Allah bless you and make it easy for you. I mean, so he was mentioning, this idea of we touched upon it of if you're even struggling to make your obligatory responsibilities, how do we even go beyond to save, and how do we go just beyond to budget? And if I may share one thing is that, firstly, forgive me because I don't know all the nuances in your story, Brother Muhammad, and I can't also, and I know it's very challenging to talk about something when you don't know it, and you want to respect that it's not so, like, my words may make it easy, but there's so much emotion in it too, and your life experience. But one thing that Musaffa actually does and cares so much about is helping Muslims generate wealth through investing. And so whatever you may even have, even a little bit, there is a recommendation to invest, because if you're even able to save a $1, that $1 because of inflation will become like cents, right? I went to the grocery store the other day, and a cereal that I loved when I was younger was $3, and now it's 9. So if I kept my $1 since then, it would be like 30 cents or something. So there is this idea of any cash you may have, maybe keep some for emergencies. So, but a lot of it, make your money work for you. So invest it into halal stocks. Musaffa has a halal stock screener. Sister Fatima has personalized guidance and coaching that she can also help you invest so that you can grow your money. Another thing that I would even suggest is, and I know you mentioned, Brother Muhammad, like you're even working the night shift. But now more than ever, there's more opportunity to upskill. So there are ways of gaining skills in areas that is parallel to you. So if you're a engineer, you can become a better writer. Like if you become skilled in something parallel, you just become a more holistic worker, right? And so you have greater opportunities. And because of AI, there's also great opportunities. Looking into entrepreneurship or starting something on the side. Like, what skill do you have that no one else does? What's something that you can offer the world that's not just task based? It's not just something that you're trading your time for, but something that you can create and make money from. So I think this kind of situation demands from us like some sort of creativity of like, how can I approach my income generation with more creativity. But Sister Fatima, if you have any thoughts.
Oh, I mean, you said that so well. You said everything so well. And first, me a lot of grantees and even coming to this workshop and wanting to improve your finances, or whether this is a reminder or new information for you, is shows that you're being proactive and you're looking to improve yourself. So I would definitely echo what Nusrat said about the upskilling. I think there's a lot of opportunities to earn more, to skill stack, as they say. So you have a unique skill set that puts you in such a unique but very valuable position so that you can boost up your income. So I definitely highly recommend doubling down on that. Today we have so much available to us because of the internet. So yeah, definitely do that and keep your options open and connect with people. You never know, you're probably just one conversation away from an opportunity. So highly recommend that.
Thank you so much. So I have two more questions, and if anyone has any questions from the participants here, please put in the chat for Sister Fatima. There's a question of, now what do we do beyond Ramadan? How do we then hold our these shifts and make it consistent?
The beauty of Ramadan is that it trains you. It trains you to be disciplined. And what you mentioned earlier, budgeting is nothing more than discipline. That's what it is. And Ramadan is the best time to try to be disciplined for anything, because you're letting go of what's even halal for you. So if you're able to budget in Ramadan, I would say Ramadan is probably one of the hardest times to budget in the year, especially for Muslims. Like when we're thinking about between iftars and wanting to give charity and Eid, it's just so much going on, and wanting to take time off as well. Because the next Eid is just 10 days of 10 special days and then Eid there. So if you can master budgeting in Ramadan, where it's such a unique position, then other months you just replicate it and you even have less categories. You're not doing the Pinterest iftars. I'm not sure why I'm so hooked up on those this morning. You're not doing those. And it's a lot easier in other months, I would say, than in Ramadan. And you're also not hungry when you're doing your budget. So you have that as well. So definitely just try to replicate the same process outside of Ramadan. And it should be easier, inshallah.
Inshallah. That's very true. I mean, the kind of groceries I buy when I'm hungry, girl, it's so different than when I'm full. So I try to go grocery shopping right after I've eaten.
Good idea.
Okay, there was another question. Let's see. Oh, so Eid gifts. So it may seem silly to talk about it, but it's very true. There's because of social media too, there's so many variety of what this could look like. And now there's even Target or Walmart, they have Muslim branded gifts that you can give people for Eid and even to host these Ramadan parties. Any strategy that one can take when it comes to preparing for just the financial aspect of this kind of gift giving?
It's a really good question. And I would say is this, it always comes down to being proactive. So don't wait until the week before Eid to start worrying about Eid gifts. Ideally, like right now is a good time to start thinking about, well, who do I want to give a gift and what gifts do I want to give them? And also let's make it lighthearted. I think, as you mentioned, like social media and all of these things have made Eid gifts, and they've made it in many ways commercialized and just another way of just driving up consumerism. But Eid is a celebration for Ramadan, what we've been able to achieve in Ramadan. So Eid is just a celebration of that. Whether you give gifts or not does not, take away from your right to celebrate Eid, because Allah has given you that right. If you can give gifts, amazing. So let's just start there, right? Don't let anyone guilt tripping you into not giving any gift. So after that, right now you can write down your list of who do I want to give Eid gifts and how much do I want to budget for it. So if you have nieces and nephews or children or a spouse or your parents, whatever it might be, within reason or within an amount that you're comfortable with, allocate different things. So on my niece, I want to spend $20. On this person, I want to spend 10. On this person, I want to spend something else. Or maybe I just want to buy a big game, like just one game that we all pay for. And that's the family Eid gift because I can't do anything more. But just like I mentioned, we need to have our priorities right. The obligations are taken care of, the generosity, and everything else. And then we talk about Eid. And if you want, you can really push their Eid gifts into generosity if you're really that hooked up on getting them. But just make sure that you position them in the right place. Don't feel guilty if you're not able to. And then do something that is not going to compromise or take away from your obligations that are more important.
Beautiful. Jazakallah khair so much. And you remind me of something. Someone was saying how because she can't give, the Eid that sometimes kids want and look forward to, grow as we grow older. When we were younger, $5 seemed like a lot, but because of inflation, now people don't. You have to give someone 20 or 50 just to even match. So this one of my friends, she actually takes dollar bills and she makes it into like a wheel, and she gives it with a stick, and then I think she puts like maybe 10 of them, $10, and she gives it to children, and they love it so much. So there's different ways that you can actually incorporate giving, but in a way that's maybe something that's homemade, potentially giving like personalized cookies or cupcakes or something of that nature, anything that's personalized and homemade. But again, that takes some time. So some people would, like myself, I'd probably just like buy it because there's less time. But now that we have 20 days or so before Ramadan even starts, budgeting to see what people you will give gifts to, maybe even putting the links to whatever you want to give them. Even if you want to go shopping now, I would say, even if you also, if you want to start making things now. One of my cousins gives everyone bracelets every year, and then she gives it in a different, just different colors, different stones. So there's some things that you can become known for, and so no one will expect something different, and it could be helpful.
Absolutely.
Okay, so alhamdulillah, we're at time, and Sister Fatima, it was such a joy to have you. You're so funny. You're so amazing and thoughtful. MashaAllah, may Allah bless you, what you do for our community. Please share your contact here, how people can reach you. I think I have your website. Let me see if I just want to make sure. Yes, financegirlie.com, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to share it here so for anyone to message you. You'd be a fantastic. If anyone needs help and guidance, please reach out. If you're interested in Musaffa and to help you screen your stocks, I know someone was asking me how to screen stocks from India. You can actually filter it so that you only see Indian stocks, and you can get notifications. You can put them on so you can see how the Indian stock market is doing and begin investing. But if you have any final words, Sister Fatima, before I close off.
Oh, thank you again to Nusrat and the Musaffa team for one, having me, and two, for the incredible work that you're doing. I think financial literacy, especially for Muslims, is a huge thing. So you guys are not just helping them with the practical side, but also the know-how. So that's, kudos to you for that. May Allah grant you a lot more success. Thank you to everyone for tuning in, for engaging, for, contributing and asking your questions. Always so lovely meeting and speaking to people. So my last thing would just be, one, may Allah allow us all to reach the month of Ramadan. I pray that all of you and myself take this knowledge and put it into practice, because that's the most important part of everything. Like, you can learn all the details, but if you don't make use of it, then it just goes in vain. So I ask all of you to take a step within the next 24 hours, challenge yourself to do that, to make the most of budgeting, so that in Ramadan we can enjoy and worship Allah as much as we want to, and keep the ummah in your du'as, keep our brothers and sisters in Gaza, in other countries, in your du'as, and may Allah grant us all victory and success and all the things that we wish. Do not neglect or belittle du'a. Du'a is the weapon of the believer. So whatever it is that you're going through, whatever it is that you want, whatever it is that people are saying it's impossible and it's this and it's that, you have a Lord that can make anything possible. Nothing is impossible for Allah. So don't forget that, and plead with that, and Allah knows best.
Ameen. Jazakallah khair. It is such an honor again to have you here, and may Allah bless you, and may Allah bless your efforts and your inspiration to the community. I have so much love for people from the Gambia, actually. I don't know if you know Imam Fode Drame, but he's a dear, he's a scholar and just such an amazing presence. And maybe we can talk about that later. But thank you so much, Sister Fatima. And inshallah, we can have you again later.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah khair.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Take care, everyone.